to go to Sandy in South Dakota. Hey, Sandy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
All right. So I just finished residency. So I start my first real doctor's job Monday.
Congrats.
And
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So my salary is going to be $200,000. And then there's, bonuses and all that
Cool.
later. But I am currently in debt, $287,000.
Okay.
They're all federal loans debt. I do have $5,000 in credit card debt, but with no interest. And I plan on just paying that off right away, my first paycheck. And $8,000 in savings because I saved up. I saved up to $12,000 total because of my move and the fact that I have 2 months off between residency and my next job. So now I have $8,000 left of that. So my question is, do I stick to the public service loan forgiveness that I'm currently on because I'll be at a VA hospital? I have 27 out of the 120 payments towards it, with the possibility of paying a lot less of my loans if I go through that route for 10 years. But the issue is if I don't stay at a nonprofit hospital or at the VA, I will lose that. Or do I end up just paying it off in, 3 to 5 years aggressively that way with 3.5 interest if I refinance through SoFi?
Yes. Well, number one, congrats, Dr. Sandy. I'm so excited for you. So with these debt forgiveness programs, a lot of them really cause you to be handcuffed to something, right?
You're still in debt.
You're not
in a different way.
And you're not having the freedom to choose a different spot. So if you wanted to leave the VA hospital, like you said, you lose it all. So what you're doing is you're kind of giving power to someone else when it comes to your money and the debt versus you saying, I can just clean this up and I can clean this up quick. Because the great, awesome thing too, Sandy, is $200K you're starting out, which is amazing. So number one, I would not do the debt forgiveness program. I would pay this off so that you're not attached to something for 10 years of your life, not just the debt, but also the career and where they're making you work in that instance. And I mean, even with the 5K and credit card debt, I love that you said we're going to just pay that off. You're going to have a lot of discipline, Sandy, because you are about to make $200,000. And there's a thing they always say is doc-itis, right? You go out and get a nice car, you're making all this money, and you're done with school. You're ready just to enjoy life. Well,
I plan to drive my Mazda 3
look at you.
2012 until it dies.
Yes. Okay. So Sandy, I mean, just looking at the math, I'm like, you could be completely out of debt in 18 months. If you lived on like $30,000-$40,000 a year, which people do all the time.
Yeah.
And you just sacrifice. And do you live in Sioux Falls? Is that where you are?
That's what my new job will be.
Okay, which is amazing too. I'm like that from a cost of living standpoint. You're not in Manhattan. You're not in San Francisco. Like you're in a great place to literally live on nothing, Sandy, for 18 months, 2 years, and you have almost $300,000 in student loan debt gone. Like, I mean, I look at the math. When I first heard you say $287,000, I was like, oh no. But then you said I'm going to make 200. I was like, brilliant, perfect. But you have to have the discipline, Sandy. But you can do this. You can absolutely get this debt knocked out. And then the beautiful thing is, once that's done, you have $200,000 that you're going to make in the next year. That's yours.
Should I? So what I'm afraid of is once I refinance and don't have my government loans anymore, I'm scared of what if I lose my job and then I'm stuck with the payments. I'm forced to pay it, whereas I just keep the government of federal loans and don't refinance it.
What's the refinance? What's the rate? What would you get difference?
It's at 3.5%.
Okay, and you would go down to what?
No, sorry. So the government is about 6%.
Oh, okay.
And SoFi gave me 3.5%.
Well, honestly, Sandy, the interest stuff isn't even that big of a deal because it's not going to be that long.
Well, and there's no sign that you're going to lose your job. That's a scarcity mindset that out of nowhere you're going to lose your job. We could sit here and do what if scenarios all day, but you have absolutely no evidence that you have any reason to lose your job. So we're just going to go based on what you know today, which is you have a job and you're making good money.
Okay. And I wouldn't get all twisted up about the interest, honestly, because again, if we were talking about 8 years of this, then yeah, that's something. We're talking about 18 months, or I am.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 18 months. So it's not even going to really make that huge of a difference over that short period of time.
Yeah. Sandy, you can do this. It's going to take the discipline for the season, just like we're talking about, but it's going to be worth it on the other side of this when you have this incredible income and you're not having to make those payments. The thing that's interesting, though, Rachel, that I think some people miss, and we talk about this all the time, when we talk about money, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about what money can do for you. The options, the power, the control, the possibilities, the future that you have. Because when you have money, you got all kinds of options. When you have stuff, you don't. So the reason that I love that we want Sandy to get out of debt so quickly with her taking control of all of it is because then she has options. If you keep doing this government program, you have no options and you are in debt just in a different way. It's not financial, but you're indebted to them and you're stuck with them. You have no
For
options,
10 years,
no power.
Though.
No options, no power, no control. And we want you to have all the options, all the power, all the control. That's why we teach what we teach. So you got this, Sandy, and you call back when you're debt free because I want to hear your debt free scream.